Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappi here, and joining me on today's show, we have Jared Keene and Steve Watson that talk some sports. Guys, how are you?
Doing great, Tom.
Fantastic, Tom.
Doing great. Excellent. That is terrific. Well, a lot going on in the sports world, kind of in the off season now, besides baseball, of course. But we've had all kinds of trades. Big Celtics trade that we're going to talk about. Marcus Smart heading over to the Grizzlies, and the Bruins made a couple of moves today that are pretty interesting. We'll get into those. But we'll start out with some baseball, some college baseball. We got the College World Series tonight, Game 3. You guys been following along with the College World Series at all? All right.
A little bit, yeah. I've definitely been checking some out. That LSU win the other night was crazy in the 11th inning to get to the over Wake Forest on the walk-off. But, yeah, and then obviously Florida put up a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's been pretty exciting.
Yeah, there's been some very exciting games. A lot of high-scoring games, but also some great pitching performances from time to time as well. But you gotta love the College World Series. I think it's pretty good stuff. Very entertaining baseball. Steve, you had a chance to check out any games?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. So they have the championship tonight, and I think the ace from LSU, who threw 120 pitches on Thursday, might pitch again tonight. So, people were all outraged over that because of pitch counts and all that stuff. But hey, when it's all on the line, it's all hands on deck, right?
Right. It's the championship.
Exactly. There is no tomorrow.
Exactly. I don't think you'll be able to go full pitch count.
Yeah.
So both teams, I was looking at this matchup, LSU and Florida. So for those that don't know, they're heading into Game 3 tonight. LSU won Game 1 on Saturday, 4-3, and on Sunday, Florida pounded LSU 24-4. So quite a turnaround for those two games. That 4-3 game, that was an 11-inning game, as Jared mentioned. But if you look at these teams, LSU 53-17, and you got Florida at 54-16. So very similar records. And as far as team stats, if you look at LSU, they got a 305 batting average, 461 ERA. And then Florida, you got a 297 batting average, 469 ERA. So very similar there. And the big names to look for, you got Tommy White for LSU. He's the home run leader. He has 24 homers on the season, 368 batting average. And then for Florida, you got Joe Calagione with 33 homers and a 326 batting average. And as far as batting average, the leaders are Dylan Cruz with a 421 batting average for LSU, 18 homers. Already got Wyatt Langford, 373 batting average, 20 homers. And 7 of the 9 guys in both lineups are hitting a 250 or better. And also in both lineups, 4 out of 9 are hitting 300 or better. So a lot of similarities between these two teams. And it should be an exciting Game 3. Any thoughts on the matchup tonight, Jared?
Give me LSU. I know they're coming off getting absolutely pounded, but I don't know. I'm feeling the Tigers here. Yeah. I don't know. I don't got much else there. If the ace comes back and does throw, that would be kind of wild. But I can see him doing it. I mean, obviously, you got to go balls to the wall here in the final game. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Steve, any thoughts on College World Series?
I agree with Jared. Tigers are a historic program. They've done a lot of winning in our lifetimes. I saw some stat. The SEC's had at least one team in the championship series. I think 15 of the last 16 seasons or something absolutely ridiculous like that. That is such a good conference.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, that's clearly where the majority of the competition is in the SEC.
Mhm.
But it should be a good battle. And just for fun, we're going to make some picks. Why not? Let's do it. I'm going to go with the Gators. I think the Gators are going to they're the dogs tonight, but I'll go with the underdog Florida Gators. I think they're going to continue their hot streak from yesterday, and I don't think they'll put up 24 runs. It'll probably be a much closer game, but I'm expecting a very suspenseful game that probably goes into extra innings, and I'll say like a 6-5 Gators win. Jared, who do you got tonight?
I'm going LSU. I think LSU bounces back and gets it done tonight.
All right, Steve.
Tigers here. They allowed 24 yesterday, but just remember the Rockies allowed 25 runs to the Angels on Saturday, and they still won on Sunday. So,
yeah, it's very true. I mean, I've been following the College World Series a little bit, but I certainly know more about professional baseball and other sports than College World Series tonight. But it's some really good games. It's been pretty fun to watch these teams battle it out. But should be a good one tonight. Should be a close, suspenseful game, I would say. All right, so there's our College World Series thought. Now let's move along to the Boston Celtics, who made some big news recently, a huge trade. Marcus Smart is heading to the Grizzlies, and the Celtics in return are getting Kristaps Porzingis. And they also get the number 25 NBA draft first round pick, and they get the number 25 overall pick, and they get the first pick in the 2024 draft, which is projected to be a top 4 pick. So they'll be getting some good value for next year's draft. Meanwhile, the Memphis Grizzlies, they get Marcus Smart, and that's about it. And the Wizards were also involved, and they get a couple of pieces. They get Danilo Gallinari from the Celtics. They get Tyus Jones from Memphis, and they get Mike Musala from the Celtics, and the 35th pick in the 2023 draft. Guys, what are your thoughts on this deal? Who do you think made out the best? And are you happy with the return you got for Marcus Smart? We'll start off with Jared.
Florida LSU 0-0 bottom first, by the way. Florida the runner on second. But I just flipped to that. This was an interesting trade because I did not want to give up Smart. For all the crap that the guy takes, he is an elite defender. He's a leader. His offensive game has massively improved. Whether it's shooting from 3, taking it to the hole, whatever. But he is also 30 years old. He's not getting any younger. And Gallinari, 3 years younger, coming off a great season with the Wizards where he averaged like 24 a game and 8.5 rebounds. The guy can clearly play, has a unique skill set. The projected protected top 4 pick next year, that's really nice. And then Brad also got good value by turning that 25 pick this year into a second round pick plus 4 future second round picks. So some interesting value there. Again, giving up Smart is rough. I really like the guy, but I have to look at it as being actually a pretty good trade as long as Porzingis stays healthy. If Porzingis stays healthy, this is a really, really good trade. But again, it's really, really tough to give up a guy like Smart, who is such an elite defender, can switch 1 through 5. Again, has really improved his offensive game. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. Health has been quite an issue for Porzingis. Last season, he averaged 23.2 points per game, 8.4 rebounds per game, and 2.7 assists, and average of 32.6 minutes in 65 games. So we did get some good action last season. And I think if you get 65, 70 games out of the guy, that's pretty good. Marcus Smart certainly didn't have the scoring that Porzingis does. He averaged 11.5 points per game, but had 6.3 assists and had that defensive element. So really you're adding more offense, kind of subtracting a little bit of defense here, but certainly think the Celtics needed a big man, and Porzingis kind of provides you that as long as, of course, he stays healthy. Steve, do you have any thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, the Celtics Ross needed some shaking up. You've had a lot of the same players for a while now, and you haven't gotten to the promised land. So I think it's time for shake up. And this might not be the last move that they make this offseason. Something had to change, and Smart might not be the only casualty of that. He was here for a long time, but the team just didn't get to the promised land. So at some point, it's time for a change and maybe try and do things a little differently. And yeah, I like the trade. I do. I like the trade. It's a good return, assuming that Porzingis stays healthy, of course. That's been an issue. So if that happens, then I think it's a good trade.
Absolutely. And I think you're right. I think we will see more deals. Last year was pretty severely disappointing for the Celtics. So nothing's really going to surprise me. I really think they're going to be movers and shakers here during this offseason. And by the way, Gators are up 2-0 now. So
dinger, Gators homered.
So my pick's looking a little bit better than the pick you guys made, just saying. But I think you're going to see some more moves. And the Celtics, they needed a big guy. They need more height. Porzingis is going to give you that. I was kind of hoping that they would maybe draft someone too that could kind of be that big guy for you, because let's face it, I think Al Horford's probably on his way to retirement. I don't think he has much left. But I'm certainly expecting other moves to be made. You guys, what moves would you like to see? Is there any off the top of your head of moves you'd like to see the Celtics make? Jared, we'll start with you.
Well, first off, the Celtics made so many moves a la the Patriots during the draft. Again, they started with the 25th pick, kept trading back, and eventually got the 38th pick where they took Jordan Walsh from Arkansas, who I think can be a versatile defender if he pans out or whatever. I know he's only a freshman, but and they got 4 future second-round picks out of it. That's massive value right there from turning the 25th pick into the 38th plus 4 future second-round picks.
Do you like that? Do you like what they did there? I mean, they're clearly trying to go younger, and
it's looking, it's looking obviously towards the future a little bit as well. Obviously, the future is still bright. Got a lot of good young talent on the roster, obviously, but you got to trust Brad here, and he seemed to get pretty good value out of that. I think in terms of a deal, I think it's pretty clear that we need a pass-first point guard. Obviously, the departure of Smart means a lot of Derek White, probably. Derek White is coming off a great season. The guy can really play, but I don't know if he's a pass-first point guard. He obviously likes to score. So I think we need to bring in somebody that can dish the ball, make some plays, who's going to kind of step into that role. I mean, again, Smart, for as many shots as he took, was a really good passer. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a pass-first point guard. Who that might be, I don't know.
Now, who going into the offseason who did you think was going to be gone? Did you think it was going to be Smart, or were you thinking, like a lot of other people, maybe it'll even be Tatum?
I didn't think it was going to be Tatum. I thought, if anything, it could have been maybe Jaylen Brown. Kind of considering coming off, he had atrocious playoffs Maybe thought maybe time to move him on. So I thought if anything, maybe it would be maybe Jaylen Brown. Obviously that didn't end up being the case, but yeah, I mean, I would have wanted to see Jaylen Brown go, but that would have been my pick if they were going to make a big move, so.
Yeah, I got to agree. He really did have a bad postseason. Tatum did not have a great postseason at all either. So yeah, I did not think it was going to be Marcus Smart though. A little surprised by that, but it was, you had to make a big move after that disaster of an ending last year. Steve, any further thoughts by you? Are they doing about what you expected, or did you expect a different outcome?
I thought maybe they would trade Brown because, like Jared said, he had a bad play, especially Game 7 against the Heat. The more that this team doesn't get it done in the playoffs, the more chatter you're going to hear about potentially Tatum and/or Brown getting flipped somewhere. So if you keep making it but not winning, then eventually that chatter will pick up because that's how sports work.
Yeah, and that's the next question I got for you guys. What's the leash with Tatum? I mean, he's had some postseasons where he certainly did a lot better than he did this postseason, but how long are you going to give this guy to get your team to the promised land? Go ahead, Jared.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you got to give him maybe as long as he needs, but at the same time, he's not really delivered yet in that sense. Obviously, the team, has been able to have some success in terms of getting far, but no championship is no championship. Again, obviously the guy is still young, and I think that it's pretty clear that they're going to try to build around him and Brown now at this point. But I don't know. Maybe at some point you try to cut your ties, but I think it's pretty clear that the Celtics believe in these guys. Again, like we said, if one was going to get moved, it would have been maybe this, recently. So, yeah, I don't know. It's to give like an exact time though on a leash.
I'll give an exact time. I give him I'd say 2 more seasons, especially if he has another postseason like he did this past year. I'm starting to run out of patience with the guy. I don't think you don't want to cut ties with him yet. He's too good for that. And
I think I got him at least four more years.
He is a lot. Yeah,
2 is low, man.
But if he's a total disaster in the postseason and that's some kind of push forward, I mean, the Celtics should have they should have walked away with the East. It shouldn't have even come down to this. But if he's going to choke every postseason, I don't know how long you could deal with that because it was just bad. Steve, what about you? How long would you give Tatum?
I tend to agree with your timeline of about 2 years. You always hear, they're young guys, all this and that. That roster needs to grow up and fast. The talent is there. They start. You saw this past year. The players walk all over the coaching staff. Taking games off for your kid's birthday. I've never heard of that before. That's
but that's on the coaches. They let them get away with that, and they should.
Of course it is. Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah. There's shared fault there. That's on the coaching staff as well. So, the coaches have to run the thing, and the players have to respect that. And if that's not going to work, then whoever's not buying into that, you need to get rid of them, whether it's the coaches, players, whoever. So, I think this year comes a big year. I know the Celtics ownership group was not pleased about how things ended this year, to put it mildly. So it's going to be interesting just to see what happens.
Yes, it will. And I mean, how could you be pleased with that?
And I can't say I fault them. You had the 2 seed. Milwaukee gets bounced early. That's probably your biggest obstacle in the East. And then you knew the Heat was going to be a tough series. And to come all the way back and just lay an egg in Game 7, that's just not acceptable. It's just not. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I do agree there. I very much agree there.
That Miami team is not anywhere near the talent the Celtics had. I mean, there's just no excuse.
No, the Heat, they're a tough team. They're very well coached, obviously. But if you're comparing talent to talent, the Celtics are clearly more talented than them.
But I
Big
think,
fact.
as we found out, it's not all about the talent in the postseason. You got to have
No,
talent.
absolutely not.
Jared, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with Steve. I mean, obviously the Celtics are the more talented team, but yeah, I mean, again, like we said, it doesn't always work out that way. The Heat, the Heat, I guess, earned that game, but I mean, again, we laid an egg. You can't lay an egg in a situation like that. That's, again, Steve said it best, unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. And yeah, I mean, this roster does need to grow up. The talent is obviously there. But again, I mean, what I will say, I think in terms of what I think the Celtics are going to do, I think they're giving Tatum and Brown now a little bit of a longer leash, having not moved one of them, in a trade. So I don't know, maybe 2 years is right technically, but I tend to think maybe they're giving me at least maybe 3 to 4 more years now.
Yeah, I mean, three's very reasonable. It doesn't have to be 2. I'd go 3, 4 at the absolute most, but if he's a total disaster in the postseason, my patience will run out faster. I'm certainly not ready to get rid of him yet. I think he is going to eventually be one of the most clutch players in the NBA. Certainly one of the most talented. You have to give him a few more years, but if he's just going to be this ongoing disaster every postseason, I think the patience of pretty much everybody is going to run out a lot sooner than expected. And by the way, Steve, the echo was coming from you. Okay. We'll have to invest.
Sorry.
Get you some good speakers. I'm just kidding. But I do want to get some Bruins stuff in the show as well. Another disappointment from this past spring playoff season, I guess you could call it. They did make some moves, some very interesting moves. They got rid of a couple of vets, added some youth to the team, and got rid of a couple forwards, added some young defensemen, as they are trading Tyler Hall and Nick Foligno to the Chicago Blackhawks. Tyler Hall, he's played with Boston for he has 2 seasons remaining on his 4-year, $24 million deal. He's 31 years old. Had a pretty good season last year, put up 36 points overall, 16 goals, 20 assists in 61 regular season games. Had 5 goals, 3 assists in the playoffs. And you lose Nick Foligno, who is 35 years old. He put up 26 points last year, 10 goals, 16 assists, 3 in the playoffs, 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists, and played 60 regular season games. In return, the Bruins are getting Ian Mitchell, 24-year-old defenseman, who put up 16 points in 35 games, 4 goals, 12 assists in his 82 games overall, actually, that he has played. And he also played for the Bruins head coach at the University of Denver, played for Jim Montgomery at the University of Denver. And you also get Alec Regula, a 22-year-old defenseman who had 1 goal in 22 games. Steve, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this deal?
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of Taylor Hall, so this one definitely stings. I thought it could happen. I didn't think they'd actually do it, but his cap hits $6 million, and we have needs, as we all know. So I guess it wasn't totally shocking, but yeah, it hurts. I was thrilled when we got Taylor Hall. I've liked him for a long time. His skill set is fantastic. His explosiveness is still amongst the elite in the entire league. So this is where, saying the business side of sports sometimes is really crappy. And this is one of those instances. So it stings, but I get why it happened.
Yeah, and it looks like the Bruins are trying to go a little younger here. What do you think? I mean, should they be going for these young guys, or should they be bringing in those vets?
I think they want to go younger. I think that was really the point of bringing in Jim Montgomery. I know people aren't thrilled with how the playoffs unfolded, and he was definitely outcoached in that series for sure. But no one ever thought this team was going to win 65 games last year and be in the spot that they were. He was brought to move along this youth movement, really, the future. He wasn't brought in for last year. So, I think it's all part of a larger plan that Don Sweeney has. I think moving Taylor Hall out, I would think, means that they have something in place with Tyler Bertuzzi to keep him. I don't think they'd move Hall out unless they have something in place there. So we'll find that out in the next few days. You've got the award show later on tonight. I think the schedule is out tomorrow. The draft is Wednesday and Thursday. And free agency is Saturday. And you'll have a lot of trades between now and then, too. And you've already had the big one today with us. So it's a busy week if you're a hockey fan.
Certainly is. Dirk Bentley going to be rocking the award show, I heard.
Yes, it's down in Nashville. I'm sure that's going to be a rocking party down there.
Oh, that'd be a fun award show to go to.
Yes.
Jared, what are your thoughts on this deal?
Steve couldn't have said it any better when he said, sometimes this is the of sports deals. Obviously, our cap stinks. Everybody knows it. And you're forced to make a move like this. I also like Taylor Hall. Again, very unique skill set, talented player, and I think he fit well on our team. It sucks to see him go, and especially again, kind of not get the best return. Again, as Steve said, I get why they did it. It just stinks. Yeah. Again, I don't think you make this move unless something is in the works for Bertuzzi. If they didn't make a move on Bertuzzi, I would be pretty stunned right now. But yeah, again, Steve laid it out the best possible way.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bruins, they clearly needed a change. And, a lot of the vets that they had, they got a couple guys likely retiring, and got to bring in some of that youth and take a bit of a step up on the defensive side, I would say. So it's nice to see them bring in a couple of defensemen as well. And we'll see how it plays out. Should certainly be interesting going forward. I don't think you're going to probably have the elite kind of Bruins team during the regular season that you had last year. Let's face it, I don't think there's really any team that's going to accomplish what they did during the regular season last year for quite a while. Obviously, it doesn't matter because of what they did in the playoffs, but regular season wise, it was impressive, and they broke pretty much every record you could possibly break. So the expectations are probably set high by a lot of people, but they should probably lower them because it looks like they're going a little younger here, and I think there's going to be a bit of a transition period. I think I just have the feeling that they're going to lose a lot more veterans in the days forward here. Steve, you feel the way I do. What's your expectation for next season? I can't imagine expect them to do what they did this year.
No, I don't see them winning 65 games. Obviously, you want to make the playoffs. I wouldn't want to scrape by like the Panthers did, though. I'd rather make it with some time to spare, which generally is what the Bruins have done, pretty consistently over the last 15 years. So, but it's going to look different. My gut tells me Bergeron is not going to be back. Krejci is not going to be back. Hall and Foligno both got shipped out today. I think they're going to ship out Linus Ullmark. His cap hits about $4 or $5 million, so they could potentially to free some space up there. Yes, Swayman's a restricted free agent. He's definitely the goalie of the future. I could see them signing him to a 6 or 7 year deal. You have Chucky locked up for a long time. You have Lindholm locked up for a long time. Pass is locked up for a long time. So you got two top D-men. You have your top forward, the top scorer at least, all locked up for a long time. So now you got to lock up your long-term goalie. And I think that's Swayman. And he's a restricted free agent, so the process should be a little easier in re-signing him. And by all accounts, he wants to stay here. So, yeah, I think that they will lock him up long-term and perhaps move out Ullmark. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll keep both for next year. But for Ullmark, he'll win the Vezina later on tonight, obviously. He'll be the odds-on favorite. But when will his value be higher? I think you could actually get something legit for him.
I mean, you arguably have the best goalie in the league. You're just going to let him go?
No, there's gonna be a price. There's always a price with these things.
I have a hard time.
Here's the thing with him. Yes, he's done a great job here. You know, he was like a diamond in the rough. He's with the Sabres. You know, a good goalie trapped on a lousy team. Comes here to a good team, does really good. You know, the last 2 years, he has started the playoff series, but not finished it. So he started the playoff series, but he was Swayman in both game sevens.
Well, I'm
Because Ullmark, the performance wasn't there. He got pulled both times.
Hurt.
They did this year. I think he was definitely hurt, for sure. But still, you know, there's questions about durability. Can he be the guy? I just think Swayman is your long-term goalie.
All right, Jared, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, it's interesting with how well Ullmark played, but again, I think Steve is right. If you're going to cash in, there's like not really a better time to cash in when a guy is coming off a brilliant season and is probably going to win the Vezina. You know, again, like Steve said, Swayman was game 7 both seasons. Obviously, he's the goalie of the future. You know, again, a deal wouldn't surprise me either. 5-year deal, 6-year deal, something along those lines. I don't know what Ullmark's cap is. Steve, I think you said it's like $5 million or something. So again, maybe
I think it's in the mid 4s.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it'd be again weird getting rid of a guy like that. Sometimes you kind of have to, you know, and again, especially with where he's at right now and them obviously that thinking that Swayman is the goalie of the future, which I like Swayman. I think he's a great goalie. You know, again, it's a weird business, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And if they moved Ullmark, I wouldn't really be surprised either.
Yeah, you know, especially if they're going in this direction that they're just trying to go really young, it would make sense because you could get such a great return for them and, you know, stock up those draft picks and, you know, those young guys, those big prospects coming up through the system. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason, I have a feeling. And if you have the over in LSU, Florida, it's looking pretty good right now. They're tied up at 2. Looks like there's going to be a lot of runs tonight. In that
I was going to say, you might be in some trouble
game
right now. 1 out, bases juiced, and already a tie game.
It's all right. We got 7 more innings left to go. Let's go Gators. Get it together. Well, believe it or not, we're at the final minutes of the show, so it is time for final thoughts. Jared, first off, before we get to final thoughts, I've been meaning to ask you this. We haven't had you on in a while. You covered lacrosse this past spring, if I'm correct. How did that go? Tell us about some of the tremendous games that you got to check out this past spring.
Yeah, so I mean, it was you know, really nice getting back out there after leaving Metro West. You know, it was I love lacrosse. You know, Kevin is running Boston Lax now. Reached out to me before the season, asked me if I want to jump on board. You know, it's kind of a writer that he could trust, and yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. You know, again, it was nice getting back out there, meeting some coaches that I'd never really met before. Covering some ISL. The talent level in the ISL is ridiculous. You know, I got to go to BU and catch a really good game between Belmont Hill and St. Sebastian's one night. That was awesome. It was a lot of fun. There's the biggest crowd I think I've ever seen for a lacrosse game. You know, and that was a regular season game. So yeah, it was a ton of fun. Unfortunately, I was away during state championship weekend, so I couldn't work that weekend. But yeah, again, just a lot of fun. Great being back out there and getting some coverage in.
Absolutely. What is it? BostonLAX.net. That's the website.
BostonLax.net. Yeah.
All right.
I got to see St. John's Prep a few times. The D1 state champions. Their team is insane. I got to cover them against BC High at BC High during the season when they hammered BC High, and then BC High actually went there and beat them. later in the season. But yeah, again, yeah, just a lot of fun. A lot of fun getting back out there.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to see you back out there. You do great work as always. Head over to bostonlax.net to check out the lacrosse coverage from Jared Keene, amongst others. And you got to tell Kevin he has to come back on the show at some point.
All right.
It's been too long.
He's doing a lot these days. He's taking on a lot, but yeah, obviously between like the football website and he's doing all sorts of BC stuff, whether it's BC baseball or women's lacrosse or football or all sorts of tweets that he's firing off, and Patriots, and yeah, obviously running Boston Lax as well. He's definitely got a lot on his plate right now, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, he's got some great projects going. I've been following along. He certainly does great work, as you do as well. So it's good to see you guys back out there in the field covering these games. And I think it's great that we're starting to see more and more high school coverage as well, because these athletes certainly deserve it. All right, but it's time for our final thoughts. Steve, any final thoughts?
Well, not that I want summer to fly by, because we do wait all year for it, right? Definitely looking forward to hockey and football season coming up in a few months here. So it'll be real interesting to see what the Bruins do this week and throughout the summer. And yeah, just counting down. Enjoy this nice weather. Finally, we do wait all year for it, folks. So, and yeah, it's all I got, man.
Absolutely. Get outside and enjoy the sun, folks. Hopefully we'll have a nice, sunny, hot summer. Jared, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I got two. It's, again, like Steve said, gotta love summer, enjoying the weather, but this is also probably the worst time for TV, sports TV, with the NBA playoffs now being done, NHL playoffs being done. I still watch some baseball here and there, but that's all you really got right now. It's a rough time for sports TV, but also want to give a shout out to Keegan Bradley winning the Travelers this past weekend, New England native, Hopkinton, Mass. Yeah, that was a great victory for him. It was awesome watching him celebrate with his kids and his wife and everything, on TV there. And yeah, definitely an awesome moment. And seems like a good dude. Seems like a really, really good dude, and certainly played his butt off this week in Connecticut. So yeah,
I am glad you brought that up. That is something that we should definitely note on that show. Congratulations to Keegan Bradley. He's tremendous. He's won a few tournaments now, hasn't he? He's usually in the top 10, top 20 in most of these big tournaments. But that is certainly great. I meant to ask you, what's your thoughts on Messi going to Miami?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's certainly cool that we can attract a player like Lionel Messi to the MLS, which I've never really been high on. Again, if you know me, I'm big into more European soccer, but yeah, to bring a player like Messi to the MLS is ridiculous, outrageous. Yeah. But don't even get me started on what Saudi Arabia is doing right now with buying like every player possible. So yeah, that's a whole different topic. And yeah, but
we're gonna have to have a soccer show at some point in the summer.
Oh my days.
It's gonna be very interesting seeing Messi in Miami. Miami's essentially one of the worst teams in the league. And funny enough, I went to my first Revolution game. A few weeks ago, and they were playing Miami, and it was just after the news broke that Messi was going to Miami. And Miami, their record is like really bad, but supposedly they went from a team that had like $5, $10 seats, and now like the cheapest seat is like $125, and all the games are sold out now. They don't even have a single seat available. So I think he instantly puts Miami on the map. Let's face it, he probably is the best soccer player in the world right now. Obviously, arguably the best soccer player in the world, but I would say he's certainly up there. But I think it's, as you said, great thing for the MLS to bring in a player like that. That's going to get worldwide attention right there.
Yep. I mean, the guy's an icon. He's a legend. You know, he's, again, one of the greatest players to ever do it. So, yeah, I mean, again, for him to come to MLS and, you know, they also signed one of his former Barcelona teammates, Sergio Busquets, you know, as another talent to kind of bring in to kind of help. But, yeah, I mean, again, to bring Messi to America and, you know, all the jersey sales now. And, I mean,
he's pulling a LeBron. He's going to Miami, and he's bringing all the superstars with him.
Taking his talents to Miami.
Taking my talents to South Beach. Well, I will certainly be watching, and I think the Revolution beat up with Miami down the road this season. So we'll likely get to at least watch them on the tube as they take on the Revolution. By the way, New England Revolution, they're tremendous. They're having a great season. And they won the game I was at pretty handedly. I think it was like 4-0, so that was pretty awesome. Great atmosphere, by the way. If you haven't been to a Revolution game, I highly recommend it. A lot of fun. All right. Well, that my final thought is, I wish we had Legion baseball that we could talk about, but you know, obviously we got some local teams around the area that are doing good, like Milford. They're having a good season, but Ashland Legion, unfortunately, not in existence for the second summer. So it's kind of sad for us. So it'll be a little bit slow sports-wise, but we'll get through it, folks. At least we have some good college baseball to watch right now, and hopefully some good Major League Baseball as the summer gets into full swing here. But it was a lot of fun covering all the Hiller sports this spring, and we certainly look forward to doing it once again next fall. And as far as this show, we will have a lot of a few best of episodes coming up over the next few weeks as I will head away for my annual vacation for a couple of weeks, but then we'll certainly get you guys back on very soon, and we'll talk some football, especially as we get into August, and we'll try to do a couple shows periodically throughout the summer to keep the people updated on what's going on in the world of sports. But for Steve Watson, Jared Keene, I'm Tom Nappi. This has been HCAM Sports Talk. We thank you for joining us. Take care. Be well. We'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody. It was a fun day at the 20th annual Sharon Timlin 5K. Some of the festivities were moved inside due to expected rain, but a good time was had by all, and much needed money to fight ALS was raised.
Well, for me, because I get to run the course every year, the chance of rain was so high we were concerned what might happen, but like always, the people that support the Angel Fund, they all come out, and it was crowded and fun and cheering, and still the hard 3 hilly miles of Hopkinton that we love. But the support for this race in 20 years that we've had it has been unreal.
Yeah, it's been an amazing day. I mean, it always is. It always turns out great. The volunteers that support this race and do everything, the things that we can't do day to day, so much appreciated. Always a great turnout. The people are great. It's so good to see repeat runners coming in. We were here last year, and you hear the stories of people losing family members to ALS, and it's always a refreshing thing that we get to hear that because it's a connection that we have. Just with this small community and the surrounding place. It's awesome.
Absolutely, and the rain held off today for the race for the most part, so that was good.
It did, yes.
Festivities inside today, but it all seemed to work out well for you.
It does. They actually got the color runoff, too, for the kids, which is seriously one of the cutest things ever. They all get covered with that wonderful color powder. They look like running Cheetos by the time they're done. It's perfect. So, yeah, the fact that it stayed off and we were able to get everything done makes me happy. And I'll say, running this race, you see the through the years Sharon Timlin shirt. I feel like we go through the nostalgia of the race for 20 years because you see the same people and they support it year after year after year. It's such a great cause, but it's also the heart of this community just really, really brings people out.
And this being our 20th year, I've probably ran into 15 or 20 people that have walked up to our table where we're signing autographs, and they're like, well, we were here for the very first one. I mean, and of course they don't have a number on them, so I give them a hard time. Like, you're not running now, but
we got older.
No, yeah.
It hurts.
Can't do it. But so many people have come out from the very first one to be at this 20th. It's been awesome.
For those that don't know, can you talk about where the money goes towards?
The money goes directly to Dr. Brown and at is it Chan Mass General?
Chan Mass General. So we have a huge contingency of all the scientists and group that help Dr. Brown too. So it all goes for research, and they have come up with 2 more drugs that the FDA has approved, which is a big deal. It is nice, yeah. It's nice to see that in 20 years, and the way our world is now, to see improvement. Unfortunately, ALS is still not survivable. So the more money that can go to research, the more hope we have. And I think the hope the light gets brighter and brighter every year with Dr. Brown working on this, and everybody in the whole lab is just really making a difference for any ALS patient or any ALS patient's family.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a great cause, and I think everyone should get involved. For those that haven't gotten involved yet but want to, where could they go to find out more information?
They can go to, well, for this race, it was the SharonTimlin.org, or go to theangelfund.com, and you'll find everything on the Angel Fund's website for all the different runs they do.
All the charity runs, all the events, yes.
Yeah.
Terrific. Well, congratulations on another great year of the Sharon Timlin race.
Thank
you very much.
She ran 29:08. Nice run, Christine. All right, we'll flip it over into the individual age group divisions. I mentioned we'll start off at 14 and under. We'll go women and then men. First place is Nina Clement from Hopkinton, 21:18. Let's go, Nina. Second place, Madison Jones, in a time of 22:07. Madison! That would be Maddie who beat me to the finish line. Storming. Great running.
That's awesome.
Third place, Alexandra Teague, in 26:42. Good cheering section right there. Moving to the boys, a young man, 14 and under, Amir Mansour, 20:02. Nice going, Amir. Second place, Cole Schmidlin, 21:22. If we have Cole, keep rolling. Third place, Eric Georgelis. Sorry, again, pronunciations. 22:12. Nice going, Eric. Moving on, women's 15 to 19 category, Haley Desmaris in a time of 19:15. Let's go, Haley. Second place, Stephanie Johnson, Hopkinton's own, 22-14. Third place, Bethel Flanagan, tied up on 22-14. Second, third, just romp it together. All right, don't have Bethel, but we'll move along. In the 15 to 19 young men's category, Matt Berdulis, 17:55. Let's go, Matt. Second place, Colin Moody, 18:52. Well done, Matt. Third place, Stephen Layton, 19:07. I'll do a little bit of catch up. All right, cool. Women's 20 to 29 age group category. First place, Jamie McNamara, 22:53. Second place, Alyssa Jollamore, 27:08. Let's go, Alyssa. Third place, Caitlin Barnes from Hopkinton, 27:23. Men's 20 to 29 category. First place, Christian Valorand, 18:33. Second place, Robert Hanlon from Melrose, 18:54. Third place, Alexander Brown, 19:06 from Hopkinton. And moving along, women's 30 to 39 age group category. First place, Christina Shaw, time at 22:25. Second place, give it up for Kim Aaliyah, 22:34. Third place, Amanda Johnson from Northborough, 23:50. Men's 30 to 39. First place, Austin Sussman, 18:05. Sorry, blended paper.
Good, I always get that.
Sussman. Second place, Ryan Tantnor. Excuse it, there's a big kind of funky symbol on it, so as best they could. 2012. Austin ran 18:05 if I didn't mention it. Well done, sir. Third place, Chris Stevenson, 2013. Chris is in the house. Moving to the women's 40 to 49 category. Amanda Waters, first place, 2026. With Blueberry. Second place, Megan King, 23:09. Got Megan. Third place, Abby McCabe, in a time of 23:31. Men's 40 to 49 category. First place, Eric Richards, 18:41. Second place, Hopkinton's own Masilo Grant, there he is, 19:33. Let's go, mate. Third place, Mark Danahy from Rocklands, 20:09. Let's go, Mark. Women's 50 to 59, the spry contender, Angel Myers, 22:20. Dawn, give her a big hug. Second place, Marjorie Selig, 23:39. Marjorie, where you at? Third place, women's 50 to 59. 15 to 59? Susan Lilworth, 26:02. Men's 50 to 59 age group. First place, Kenny Bennett, 19:11. Sweet one, sir. Second place, James Glavin from Natick, 20:35. Third place, John Kirk from Ashland, 21:38. Go Clockers. Women's 60 to 69 age group category. First place, Mary McNulty, 23 flat. There you go. Second place, Dorothy Zulo. Yeah! 25:53, Dorothy. Third place, Annette Bliss. 27:03, I believe. It's a little cut off by the ink stain. Annette Bliss. All right. 60 to 69, men. First place, Jim Howard, 1944, Oakdale. Second place, Bob Mayer, Ashland, 23-29. Third place, Kenneth O'Brien, Abington, 24-29. Nice go, mate.
Way to go.
Women 70 to 79. First place, Jan Brett, 28-53, 70 to 79. Yes. Second place, Susan Lick, 34-22. Great running. Third place, Carol Leiter, 40-23. Let's go, Carol. Men's 70 to 79. John Hurley, first place, 29-02. John Hurley, well done, sir. Second place, George Silver from Framingham, 30-47. Well done, George. Third place, Peter Licht. Forgive the pronunciation. 33-51 from Newton, Connecticut. Hello. 80 and over. First place, Stephen Mayo, a name we know, 29-28. Well done, sir.
How was the race today?
It's good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Second place in that category, Joseph Cozio, 43-44.
Want to talk about why you were running today?
Yeah, okay, we just have one. All right. I do believe that's
I've been
it.
running for years in this race, and here I am again. My mother-in-law had ALS, and that's part of why I'm here.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
All three males in one. Overall. All right, just going to do a little repeat because a few people were late to the floor for the overall award. So I'm going to go through the males again, first three, and then the first and third females, okay? So once more from the top, overall winner, Jake Hastings from Spencer, time of 15:51, 5:06 people per mile. And if he doesn't come this time, we take the shoes down, right? Okay. Second place, Mike Schroeder, Hopkinton, 16:37. Third place, Ben Scott, in a time of 17:14. Okay. Going to the women's overall, first and third. Kim Dixon, 18:21. Excellent running, Kim. 5:55 per mile. And then in third place, Autumn took her goods already. Olivia Jones was third in 18:56. All right, that truly concludes our award ceremony. So thank you so much. Congratulations for all participants and 20 years of magnificence. Thank you very much.